Question before we
Yep.
talk about the proposals is, can we, in good faith, go forward with anything if we don't know how we extend a contract legally?
Legally, yeah.
I mean, and it's, and I'm not talking about just protecting us, but protecting the vendors as well, because if we say, yeah, we can do this, and yeah, the extension's in there, and then legal comes back and says, you have to set it up this way, it can't be set up this way, you guys can't do this if you do this, whatever. And then we're gonna have to go back and reopen terms with anyone we approve or anything from there. Is that the right order to do it in? I know that this is the delay of another couple weeks till the next meeting, till whatever, on whether we accept a bid today or not accept a bid today, it possibly, but is it worth checking into first before we go down this road and make a promise that we can't keep?
We have 3 weeks till the next meeting because November,
Yeah, it ends weird.
yeah.
We could always have a special meeting.
So we purposely went to legal and had this whole RFP written and reviewed by them with the intent of
Eighth.
how do we protect ourselves if we want a multiple year contract? And this is how they came back, and I believe if we go back and look at it, it's at the will of the commission, year 2 and year 3. So that would tell me that we could open up negotiation with somebody before an RFP, and if we can come to an agreement that we find suitable, that we can proceed forward.
Without an RFP.
Right? If hypothetically our existing contractor came back and went up 25% and we were in shell shock, then we'd have the right to go back for an RFP. So I think it just comes back to the will of us.
Yeah, and whether you can make that negotiation work for both parties.
And I believe that was the intent when we set it up with legal writing the new RFP. Because we went through a lot. I mean, we went back and forth for weeks when we changed from the old to the new. I remember you made a bunch of different changes.
Yeah.
And we kept sending it back to legal.
Yeah.
So how do we move forward? So the one thing that we're lacking is, when do we engage on that? We never set times and dates around it to notify the vendor before,
But I think it's at our will. I mean, I think we ourselves have to come up, when do we think we have enough time to do it? And if it fails, to write an RFP, get the RFP back up and solicit bids in time so we can make it for budget season. So it's all, I think it would be up to us to back the calendar up.
Right. Well, we take our current RFP timeline and then back it and say, how many weeks before that do we have to really start talking about?
Yeah.
right,
You know, put them on notice if they want to, present to us on this date, give us some time to scrub it, and then decide what we want to do. And then if we choose not to, move forward with an RFP.
so if we put those dates in there, is that changing the RFP process? Do we have to go back out to bid? Do we have to get?
I don't think we're changing it because we're
Because we're
awarding
still
based
willing-
off of what we're doing, and
still
within it,
below
it
the
says we have the right to go year 1, year 2, year 3. So I think when we go into an agreement with whomever we choose, we could put those dates in and just say, if we are going to reach out, it'll be on this date
Yep, yeah,
and so
that's,
forth. So I think we just put it in there. And that contract that we finally signed, we passed that one back through legal, just to give an eye over it.
so along those terms, what I was gonna propose is, like the first meeting in August, we should vote on whether or not to offer an extension. First meeting in September, the contractor should respond, whether yes, they want to, or no. If it's a no, then we move to, RFP again.
I think that's way too slow.
You think so?
Well, we're talking, this year we got the RFP out mid-September for mid-October bids, so,
Yeah.
If you
early.
need a response from, we need to be able to say, okay, so the first, if you're saying, okay, August, we're deciding on it, then it's a week turnaround to figure out, does the vendor want to come back want to go up again or not? And then we need terms by the next meeting.
Yep.
In August. So
You also have
that
to
we can
remember,
make-
we're on our summer schedule, then we meet less frequently also.
Right. And honestly, we may not be able to at that point.
Yeah.
We may need to, if our intent is to do this, either we're gonna have to have the regular meetings, or we're gonna have to probably schedule a special meeting
meetings.
to get it in there, because you really wanna go into like September first, knowing whether we need to put an RFP out by the 15th, or if we're all set and don't have to put that RFP out.
So,
Yeah, I personally would like to see the set contract price known by the Board of Selectmen on the first week of October, because we're still running a budget right now we're having issues with, and we have a dollar value just plugged in. It'd be so nice to know, do we have less monies? Do we have more monies? What monies do we have?
that's what I was gonna say, I'd like to use the date where the budgets need to be due and back in from there. So,
We
but
normally,
when-
by the last week of October, have to have all our numbers into the budget committee. Like, they're voting Thursday night on our budget, and we still don't have a number for field maintenance accurate in that budget.
But the concern is when are we gonna start discussing it with the contract, middle of July, when we really don't know the results yet?
Right.
You'll have a pretty good idea.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we need to accelerate. We could start it in August, but we need to accelerate our timetable. We can't be like, okay, a month later, we're getting a response, because that response is, basically the way you say it is, they're gonna get back to us whether they wanna renew it or not. Well, the question is now we haven't had any time to say, okay, they're coming back, what's the discussion behind renewing it and everything, before we decide, before it's definite of, do they wanna renew it or not?
Right, yeah. But we all agree that we have to put some kind of parameters around it so that we can
Oh,
notify the.
we definitely need dates in there so that we know when to start.
We know, and also they know,
Attacking this, yeah.
whoever the contractor is.
Because again, I think that did get us into trouble this year. I think we just kinda floated through and didn't think of it, and all of a sudden, everything was on us, and we're like, well, okay.
It's time again, yeah.
What do we carry for an expected budget?
There's 90,000 plugged into the budget right now.
What is it, 90?
90 with the two combined, if you take the two lines combined. Because we break them up into two different lines, like the proposed.
That, does that include any unexpected?
No.
No.
That might be in another line.
Yeah, there was a little padding, but it wasn't much.
There's like another line, I think it's maintenance or something that's in
Yeah.
there. But it's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's the OS line.
And the budget committee has not gotten to the Rex budget yet.
Because we keep pushing them off. 'Cause-
No, that's going to be Thursday night. You'll see, we will find out how much they take. So, those lines could get a lot lower.
Yeah. That's
So
it.
what happens if our budget is below what all our,
We cut services.
so we don't irrigate or we don't mow?
We have to cut services. It's a bottom line budget is what we keep being told, so we'll have to, selectmen, figure out what services we're gonna have to cut for the town.
Softball fields.
Baseball, softball, just take everything, right, bud?
By services, like, what would be an example? Service.
Whenever I say, gonna have people saying, doing it, but it could be things such as the recycling center gets closed by a day. That you don't know what it has to be. We're gonna have to
Right.
look at the budget and say, what services, if we can't fully fund everything, we're
Right.
gonna have to cut something. Now, right now, I hope we never have to do that.
Yeah.
But if it goes low enough, we were $250,000 over the tax cap. If you looked at just contractual obligations, the increases in utility, the increases in health insurance, and the increase in road salt, we were already over the tax cap.
I'm thinking like the rec budget, I mean, we don't have,
They
Budget's a
cut
budget.
budgets the other evening that you wouldn't think they would have cut numbers. And it was all under the guise that we have to get below the tax cap,
Right, I
which,
did see
which
that.
they legally do not have to do. They can't vote for a budget over the tax cap. So, in my opinion, they could have done their due diligence for the residents and looked at the line, just what is right balancing for the services we have. And if we still came $180,000 over the tax cap, they couldn't vote in favor of it, but at least they did the diligence of the town.
Right.
So then you'd have a proposed budget that is not voted for, and you'd have a default budget that's not voted for, but at least the town residents could pick what they want to go do.
But
And
they
that's the
didn't
path
wanna vote
I
for it.
believe it should have been taken, instead of just cutting because we have to get another tax cap.
Weren't we told we should ask for more money in our budget?
I did.
Yeah.
We did, there's an
Guaranteed.
increase
Told
this
that.
year.
We were
There
told
was an
that,
increase.
like, that we should increase. All right.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if they would say, oh, recreation field maintenance, we're cutting $40,000, so then what do we do, mow every other week, or?
Well, then that's what happens is now we have to look at holistically
Then,
for the
right.
whole entire town. And we may end up overspending lines and underspending other lines, because I still feel that we need to budget properly, right? When we peeled back 3+ years ago to zero-based budgeting, we went to every department and said, prove to us why you need the money.
Right.
And that's when we really started trimming our budget, getting down to what we needed to do, because we wanted to be very diligent with the taxpayers' monies. And we really want to know no slush funds, and we tell everybody, apply it to the line, even if you overrun the line, you'll underrun another line, but we know moving forward that we actually need more monies in this line, we need next monies in this line.
So if something like that were cut, let's say they cut 40,000 off our field maintenance,
Mm-hmm.
we have to go back and do RFPs all over again?
No,
We have contracts.
you have a contract, you're already into a contract obligation, because this doesn't happen until March, and you're already in your contract,
So
right?
if
So we as a town need to figure out how we're gonna pay all these bills
Right.
with the monies that are allotted to us by the taxpayer.
The 86% of our budget is field maintenance.
Right.
So the problem we'd run into is if we get down to the point where we don't have any padding, if an irrigation head breaks, we can't fix it. If we got fungicide, we can't address it.
Or,
Unless you get
We
rid
ran
of.
up.
Unless you come, or you come to the, you come to the Board of Selectmen and say, this is an impact, this is what it's going to be, and then it comes up to us, where we gonna go find the money in the town's budget.
or you start charging people to use fields,
Yeah,
everyone.
Yeah.
Not just, not just for profit or whatever, you start
Just
charging
to
everyone.
cover our expenses.
Yeah,
Well, because our porta potties are under contract also, aren't they?
correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Is trash pickup under a contract?
Upstairs.
It's under the,
Everything's a
know
service.
much it's
Everything's a
not.
contracted service.
but IT had contractual services that they went after,
Yeah.
and they cut. So how do you pay for a contractual service? You're already under contract for those dollars, but that line just got cut. That transpired the other night.
Contracts change. It happens.
Yeah, and they're brand-new contracts, and these are the new prices, and this is what we need for the services within IT of the town, and those monies got cut. So now we have to go off and find those monies elsewhere.
When I went in front of the budget committee, I set the expectation that we anticipate field maintenance going up because just fuel charges and what we've been seeing, but I didn't know how much, and I couldn't give them an actual dollar amount.
So what we have that's not under contract is probably like lights and electricity at Dara, heat,
Yep.
so,
Pay as you
But
go.
those are tied into with the utilities. We click on our website and it tells us what the average rate of electricity is gonna be. We apply it to it, so it's kind of a known cost also.
Glow-in-the-dark basketballs.
I just think our, like,
Everyone
our
wears
budget
coats.
is
We-
really like bottom line.
Maintenance is the biggest thing we have that they can cut, right?
Yes.
Would be maintenance. Well, they can cut anything they choose to cut, but maintenance is the one that's truly not a fixed cost for us.
Hard to adjust that one. All right, so back to the field maintenance contract.
Thank you.
What's the will of the board? Do you want to make a decision on the field maintenance contract, or do you feel we should speak with legal?
On the right of first refusal thing, or the
Yeah,
two-year extension?
When do we need a
Extension.
definite number? When, what would be?
Guess it doesn't matter right now, because they're gonna vote Thursday night. So they may set a number for us.
It's either tonight or it doesn't matter.
I'd say I think we need to vote on it tonight.
okay.
I would rather have a real number plugged in
Yeah.
and in their hands when Karen and Kim and Bob are in front of them that Thursday evening, because when it comes up, we can say, you know, this is a contractual we have.
So last year, we had talked about the part two, the trimming and stuff around the fields, not on the fields themselves. And buying a tractor so that we wouldn't necessarily have to include that as part of the field maintenance RFP, as I recall those discussions.
Yeah, if we can get to that point.
But tractor has been used for other things too, raking the beach, cleaning the beach at Dare.
Biggest part of that is
And,
volunteer time. And who's gonna commit to
make that
cutting
happen.
that, right?
Do we have the mower deck for it yet?
Oh, yeah, we got it all, and then it also came into, when you speak with contractors, a lot of them are like, no, I don't want you getting involved with what I'm doing. We offered that for two reasons. One is for, do they wanna put their nice equipment into the areas that we don't even wanna use our home equipment on? And it's also a chance to possibly have us do it, or maybe a small Evan come in,
Yeah.
say, hey, I could take this part from you if they wanna focus on. It was an opportunity to give the true field health and maintenance, break it out of that part of it.
Right.
But one issue that we're facing is who has time to cut that perimeter grass as often? And are they gonna do it where they're not gonna impede on the field maintenance? That's,
Don't wanna drive across the middle of the field to get to the perimeter stuff,
yeah.
that kind of thing, okay.
Ultimately, I think it would be great to get there, even like Londonderry hires, a bunch of retired men that take care of all their field maintenance. But they also, one of them has a license and they've been doing it for a long time and they're very deep and dedicated and of course they get paid too. Paid service. I don't know how much it is, but. All right. So with that said, would anybody like to make a motion to off the field maintenance contract? Mr. Ames, how are you?
Hey, Peter, just in
What
time.
timing?
There's a lawyer coming in.
I was gonna say, here's the lawyer. I'm not used to seeing you all this stuff.
So you and I or a nay on this? Just,
Sorry for my tardiness, folks.
just kidding, no problem.
So, Peter, we're about to, go into the field maintenance, well, not go into, we're about to close out the field maintenance contract and award it to a vendor.
All right.
So Jeff, with that said, obviously, now that you're an alternate again, you won't be able to vote, but of course, your comments are always welcome.
Peter, let me just check. I saw you had an email that came through, just to see if we talked about your questions and if they were answered.
I don't think I had many questions on them, just a couple of
Just
comments.
comments, okay.
If I get a chance to review that, then I'm good.
Well, I think we should throw Moran's out just because of lack of knowledge and information within
I agree.
their proposal.
Well, I mean, honestly, as again, we talked about Kennedy, we don't want to,
We cannot.
we can't.
We can't. That's
Because
another
it's
one
on
I think
one
we need
side,
to,
so-
just because of, not having the herbicide, fungicide, and everything else portion of it.
I agree with those.
Trimmers also did not include the fungicide. Was that part of it? Part of the RFP?
Yeah, it
Okay,
was.
I thought so. But I looked through it like multiple times just to make sure I didn't miss it, but I don't.
They were also the lowest, and that could be why, but
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you kind of look, I
kind of a red
think,
flag that that's not included.
yeah, it's all rolled in on that one.
All right, so. Kennedy and
Kennedy and
Moran's.
Morans are out.
So we have Alliance, Natticook, and Trimmers. Someone like to make a motion to nominate one of the three to provide the contract to?
I will make a motion to award the contract to Natticook Lawn and Landscaping.
I would second.
Thank you, Steve and Chris. We have, open it up for discussion.
I seconded it because, number one, they're under the budget that we have penciled in right now, which is very attractive. Plus the offer for the well, which is a huge savings on
And
top
it's
of
part
that.
of our future plan.
Yep, and
That meets the CIP.
knowing the work that they had done in previous years. You know, I think we kind of know what we're expecting from a quality standpoint.
And I also know when we did have issues at the field, he did it at these material costs and a reduced labor rate, which really helped out and gave back to the town.
Yeah, I mein, so this is no slight on Alliance, because I think they did a fantastic job this year, and I want to thank you for that. For me personally, you know, I know Natticook does a good job, and I'm confident that they're going to continue to do a good job. And the price difference is huge, especially when we talk about budgets and how they're trimming everything in town, so.
I mean, it's a delta of almost $20,000. It's like $19,000.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Any other discussion? We're at the table. In the middle of a vote, we can't offer comments from the audience. Any other discussion?
Question, was there anything in there, sorry, I'm picking
problem.
up, regarding price increases for the other years?
We had a fairly lengthy discussion about that.
Okay.
Where we basically came down to the point where, you know, we're gonna try to talk prior to an RFP going out and make the decision, as a board with the contractor, discuss the price increase or decrease based on, you know, that year's, you know, changes in the economy and pricing. And then if the two parties can't come to an agreement, then at that point, an RFP would go out.
Yeah, because the way we structured it, we have 1 year, and then we'll see how it goes, and then
Yep.
we can extend with the current contractor, or put it out to RFP if we're not happy with the price increase.
Yeah, what we all discussed is we were negligent this year, that we never really went out and had that conversation. So we need to engage earlier on, so we can have the conversation, try to work something out, and then if we have to go out to RFP, have enough time to do it, and get the number in for the budget committee. So we just got to back all the dates.
Any other comments, Peter?
Nope.
Happy, all right. All those in favor of awarding the field maintenance contract to Natticook Landscaping for the season of, what would that be, 2023? Please signify by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nays?
You're beyond me.
Nays? Opposed? Abstained?
Just wait to the conversation, so no reflection on the motion.
Okay. Motion carries 6-0-1.
Wondering if his math was gonna.
I was gonna question that too. I was looking. He did a double look too.
Oh,
He counted to 5, which was interesting, but yeah.
Chris's hands are big enough to be 2 people. All right. Moving forward.
But thank you to everybody who did bid. This was the
Well, thank
first
you.
year
Yeah.
that we've had multiple bids coming in, and we greatly appreciate
It
it.
was quite a surprise, considering last year we had 1. Typical, we have 4 to 5. We also always wonder if we're gonna get any.
Did we do anything different this year?
A couple of years ago, what did we actually went out and solicited because we
did the
we only got 1, right? Then we had to solicit again,
Yeah.
and that started working again for us.
We did the same thing this year.
This year, yeah, but we had better response this year.
Yeah, and I had Karen posted it in a couple places.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, whatever we did this year, we should do in subsequent years.
Where's my, there it is. All right, so the extension procedure we talked about already. We will have to regroup and rewrite that and go back to legal to make sure that we're covering it and including in probably the contract.
I think we
guess.
include in the contract, and then whatever verbiage we pull out of that, we just stick it into the proposal next year if we need it, if we need to go back out.
Yep, yep. Steve briefly hit on that where, you know, we were kind of negligent and we're late. And one of the big things is we have to get our numbers to the budget committee earlier. So we need to figure out that date and work our way back to figure out when we're gonna work with the contractors to negotiate the 2-year extension. Alright, moving on, old business, security cameras, Mr. Burns.
Yep, so the system is up and running and recording at Roy. We've got some good pictures under the pavilion, we've got some good pictures of the playground. So things are looking good there. I'm trying to figure out a date to be able to get down to Jeff Lane. I'm shooting for, forget what day it was.
If you wanna go on a Friday or Monday, I'm off the next two.
I might be able to, I'm shooting for maybe around the 12th.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Saturday.
Okay.
Possibly, I don't see anything in my calendar for that, so
It might be
I
around.
might as well put it in there now.
Andy, didn't you mention something about doing one at,
Corning.
Brook and Corning, yeah?
Yeah, baseball was talking about purchasing one on their own, just because we have a ton of problems down
Yeah,
there.
and it's down in that valley, you can't really see what's going on down there.
And they're crystal clear. Chris showed me the pictures. They're awesome.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah.
And how much does it record? How much do you think you can get?
It's, I mean, the expectation is a minimum of 30 days, but it's gonna be beyond that.
And what is the hard drive size?
4 terabyte,
4 terabyte?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
with just 2 cameras on it now.
And they're motion activated, or they're just continuous?
It's continuous recording, but it's a dual stream, so it records at a low resolution
Yep.
until motion walks in front of it, and then it bumps it up to full res.
Okay,
So that helps with the storage size.
yep. And then it also allows you to see the action coming in and the action going.
Yep, yeah, pre and post.
I didn't have to
You
get
know.
any kids off Snack Shack roof or Party roof this week or anything.
With the fryer later and grill gone, it's hard to get up
Facial
there.
recognition it runs too.
Awesome, that's good. Yeah, Andy, if you could work with baseball, if we can get some recording, that'd be great. I know it's
Yeah,
regular
that's, it'll be at our next agenda, next
I think
meeting,
it was
we'll
like-
talk about it.
1,600 or 1,700 each.
Yeah, I think it's worth every penny.
Yeah, in fact, depending on budgets, I'd kinda like to put a camera up on the front of that snack shack too, to watch the fields, just to
Yeah.
keep anybody from driving on them,
Agreed.
unexpectedly or anything like that.
And you
can
said,
add another
what does a
camera.
camera cost?
Yeah, you can add 4 to it. So
And how many-
you can have a total of 4, so there's room for 2 more,
And what does the camera go for approximately, you think?
under 500.
Oh,
We might be able to make that happen. We still have some money in our
This
budget
year.
for,
All
yeah,
the stuff
This
that's
year.
going on.
this year.
This year.
If you can get me a quote.
Sure.
Thank you on that, that's awesome.
Great idea. Put that extra camera up.
Yeah. Just a short term, that gate was open, somebody dumped a TV down there.
I did notice that, yeah.
Yeah, big TV.
Yeah.
Big-
It's
sitting at the
just-
pole too and
Gate was open for a week, that's all it took. Pickleball update, Judy and Chris.
So we're, just, waiting, an estimate for the surveyor. I think it was the day after our last meeting where we found that the pad and the land will be cleared and the pad will be poured at no cost by a local business who is donating their time to do that.
Wow.
Will be, and,
That's great.
once we have an estimate from the surveyor. And Chris got a few more estimates on,
I haven't received any estimates yet. I have a call scheduled tomorrow morning with one of the vendors to discuss the project down there and hopefully get some pricing based from that. The other one said he was gonna send me some information. I haven't received anything on that. I'll follow up with him again. But he seemed pretty eager, at least when I spoke to him about it. And I liked what he had to say too, so, some of the materials and stuff that he was talking about seemed like it was,
we looked at, the sizing, where the pickleball court is, consistent size, but you're overrun. It's recommended 10 feet either way. If you go, like a 12-foot overrun, it ends up being, tournament regulation and ADA compliant.
So 12 feet, is that 12 on each side or 6 on each
They
side?
overlap, so, yeah, it would be like 6 on each side, but the 6 here would belong to this court and this court.
What, yep.
And then, once we have the estimates, looking at the ends, do we want a little bit more space, but, so that's where we're at with that, and once we have all our estimates, we can go. to the,
Nice thing on that is we have the impact fees, so if this gentleman, puts down the courts, the impact fees can pay for the lines and fencing. And then whatever's left over, we could use for, you know, playgrounds and stuff like that.
yeah.
But we also, in the CIP, we put that also in the CIP saying that we wanted that. And if there's any overage over and above the impact fees, they also mentioned ARPA funds.
We should be able to do it for under what we have, now that we have some labor.
Without a playground though, right? I think, I've been seeing and reading that playgrounds could be $20,000 to $40,000.
Oh, yes, yeah, I mean, once, there'll be, pickleball courts will not use all that money.
Yeah,
And yeah, playgrounds run that much.
Yeah.
That was before they ran that much. I'm not sure how much they run now.
Yeah,
They're expensive.
Yeah.
half of it's liability insurance.
that's awesome. That's such good news.
Where are we on the repairs of the tennis courts down at Sawmill?
Nothing new to report.
Nope, we don't have any money to do that,
Yeah,
and you can't use impact fees.
Can't use impact fees for maintenance.
For any kind of
all right,
maintenance or renovating.
can't use the ARPA funds. for
That was that the last one we put in? Was the tennis courts? What did we put in? We had 5.
We did put, that was in one of the 5, was
Yeah,
for the CIP,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, was,
It would take a
Singles
warrant
tennis
or
courts.
fundraising to do it.
Yeah.
At this point.
And that would be just to do what the contractor came in and talked to us about, or what Chris brought in was repairing the cracks and do an overlay. We'll not be tearing it up and,
Yeah,
Right.
start from scratch, yeah.
it's awesome. And if we can get that quicker is better, obviously. So now we just need to have, the land surveyor go out and measure it and,
yeah,
alright. Southern New Hampshire Tour of Lights, Judy.
so the last meeting, we decided that was something we were gonna do in Litchfield, so I let the Southern Regional Rec, all those letters, whatever, know that we would do it. I submitted our logo for the flyer. I should get an email with the flyer this week, and then I can promote it on our webpage, the What's Up page. And just ask people if they want to participate to submit their address. And then I get it all to them beginning of December. They put all the different towns and the addresses all together. I'm not quite sure how they do it. And then everybody just who wants to participate should have it done by December 9th. And keep it up through Christmas, and then hoping we have that display in the center of town too, that walk-through path that we can include. in
I don't know if they're
and
doing the
so-
walk-through path. It sounds like, they're gonna move it to town.
Well, they're
hall again.
doing the big tree lighting,
Yeah.
right?
They're actually having a meeting, Zoom meetings every Tuesday now, so we could reach out to Heather and find
I'll
out.
find
I
out.
think the lights up at Town Hall were never taken down.
They're gonna leave up there. No
I think they've been left up since last
Still
Christmas.
there.
That would be, that's a cool.
I still think that's a great place just to
It is,
have
'cause
lights
you
that
can
are
go through,
illuminated.
Can't make the tree lighting, but you can go anytime.
Time
during
and
the
look at
Christmas station, Christmas season, walk by.
Christmas with you all through the year,
So-
that's what the spirit is, right?
But just don't let me take on any more projects till I have one down. I don't like having two going at one time.
It's a shame
Say, "No,
because,
zip it, don't say anymore. So that's just where we're at with that, and that will be just advertising and getting the addresses, and then we'll be able to give the addresses of all the surrounding towns who are participating too, and I'll seek out, some donated gift cards to do a random drawing with people who participate to.
thank you, Judy.
Great.
Google Drive, who is doing this?
Yeah, so we have that Google Drive now. I can't take on organizing another thing right now, but I know it's kind of just sitting there and things are collecting, but we do need to get, the whole idea is that it does make things easier to organize.
So we're already using Google Drive, we just need to use the, I can't even think of the name of the
What is it, the-
application, Google,
Workspace,
No,
does it works? I don't remember.
Google Sites.
Google Sites.
Sites.
that's what it is, that's what I meant, yeah.
Jeff knows that?
But then you can, make the folders there and make everything.
So a little bit behind that is the Recreation, or the Conservation Commission is using it, and they're hosting all the documents on it, and their meeting agendas and the meeting minutes and everything, and anybody can get to it, which is really easy. And it seems easy to do, it's just, Judy doesn't have the time.
Creating the folders and moving everything. Well, when you go into Google Drives now, it's kind of like overwhelming. This stuff, you can move everything into folders and make it easy, but I got enough I'm doing right now.
Do you think that's something?
Yeah, I could take a look at it. If I know where everything is now.
Yep, we'll hook you up with, her husband Jason, he's set up the one for the conservation. It looked pretty easy, I definitely don't have the time. And I think once you look at it and start poking around, you'll be like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, okay.
It looked pretty simple.
Sites and workspace and drive, it's all the same stuff underneath, it's just different,
Yeah, it's how you present it,
just
right?
different names.
Last thing is future meeting, our next meeting is November 8th. And who's on call, or who's on call?
Oh, yeah, who's answering?
Who's-
this in November?
Mail correspondence.
Let me look.
And we should not include Mr. Weber in our mail correspondence, he's got enough on his plate.
No,
The next one is Election Day, November 8th.
So you won't be here.
I will not be in attendance. Hopefully, nobody will be writing Mickey Mouse or anything in, because it makes for a very long night.
Yes.
Oh, it's right in front of you.
Good thing you said that on TV.
What is
Definitely
it,
right
October?
now.
Mr. Weber is October.
I've been doing it October.
And we
Judy,
do know when somebody does it, because the machine makes a different noise when there's a
Judy's
write-in.
November, then Jeff.
Is December?
I'm
December.
out of
Yeah.
the country next week. Is someone willing to
Yeah, I'll
do
keep an eye on it.
Tuesday through Saturday for me if something comes in?
No.
Vacation denied.
All right, you can do Google Sites.
There was,
You can take over Christmas lighting.
at last night's Board of Selectmen meeting, Mrs. Queenan mentioned, was it New Hampshire Watershed or Merrimack Watershed Council?
Lower Merrimack
Lower Merrimack.
River Valley Authority,
Yeah, all those letters.
no, Advisory Committee,
Yeah,
that we're looking for 3 more reps.
yeah.
So Michael Croto, the chair of the planning board, sits on it, and they're asking us for 3 more. Basically, what happens is if anything's built within a quarter mile of the Merrimack, the permitting has to go to this advisory board also to say yay, nay, what's the impact on storm runoff and so forth, and anything else.
And they're looking for a rep from the conservation and a rep from the recreation.
What's the commitment? When do they meet?
Once a month,
I don't
and
join
it's
anything,
during the
I
day.
can't.
During
I
the
need
day.
to, I need
This
to.
is what I was told last night by Ms. Kleiner,
In person or remote?
in person, in Nashua.
Once a month. Yep. And it's, all the other towns are in it, and it's basically an advisory board and how it's gonna impact our area. So it's,
Anybody along the Merrimack, so it's, Nashua, I guess Hudson, Londonderry, us, Manchester.
So you said they want someone from conservation and someone from.
yeah, so your husband's gonna be doing a
Alright,
little
that's
more
right,
work,
that's
probably.
Well, you can go together. It'd be a date night.
I don't think so.
Go for lunch.
I wonder if Jason knows he's gonna be doing that.
He'll have to.
I
pick
can
some-
try to find out if it's consistent, like the 3rd Wednesday of the month or whatever. I think Ms. Kleiner would know that.
It might be something Jeff would be interested in.
Be able to do that.
I'd be interested too. I can, there if we need it.
Be a day night for you and Jason.
Date day.
Doesn't sound like a lot of fun. So if you could reach out to Mrs.
I
Quinn
will,
and ask her
and
for
I'll send a note
details,
to everybody
and
on what
then
day it is.
Either Chris or Chris and
Here
Jeff would be
after.
great. All right, that's it. Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstains? Motion carries 8-0-0.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Oscar.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.